To our koala rooftop. My name is Lily and I'm one of the koala keepers here at Wildlife Sydney Zoo. Before I get too stuck into telling you about these guys, I do just want to pay my respects to the traditional custodians of the land and further extend that respect to any elders both past, present and future emerging. Like I said, welcome to Koala Rooftop. And this side of the roof, especially with a little bit of action at the moment, draws a lot of attention. But before you leave for the day, make sure you do a nice big loop. We do have koalas living over on the other side of the roof. If you are extra lucky and you stick around for a little bit, we do have a koala over on the other side that has a little Joey that's just started to come out of the pouch and made a few appearances in the last week. So you might see a little bit of action there as well. If you do spot any koalas that are on their own, they're not in timeout or trouble or anything like that, they are actually just our male koalas. So these guys are a very isolated species. They don't live in big family groups or herds or anything like that. They live all on their own out in the wild. And those males are actually quite fiercely protective about that space. Anything that comes into it that's not a female, say in the breeding season, is considered a threat, and they will attack that and kind of try and assert dominance. So not only are they happy feeling like they have their own space to protect, and that's their own little territory, but it also keeps our other koalas safe from harm as well. You can find koalas all up and down the east coast of Australia, so running through the bottom end of Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, and just a little bit into the South Australian coast as well. There is only the one species of koala, but they can look a little bit different depending on where you're seeing them. So our koalas are probably a little bit more familiar with what you would see in Queensland and New South Wales. This means two things. The first being their colour. They're a lot lighter grey colour with plenty of white speckled ink. I'm sure you can see it in the little one wriggling around here. There are lots of white on their chest and running up their back. And they're on the smaller side as well. So our largest koala here is our pregnant girl on the other side, or our girl that's just had a joey, or our boys. So you can see Pyrrha having a little look at me in the back there. They sit at around 8 to 9 kilos throughout the year. Now, moving further towards Victoria and South Australia, that's where they change. Those koalas get quite a bit bigger. Their male koalas are looking at about 12 to 14 kilos, so they can really get quite large. And they come in a much darker grey colour, sometimes even a chocolatey brown colour, so they do look like little brown bears sitting in the trees as well. Now, they are, of course, sitting in the trees all the time. You guys might have noticed all the leaves here. It's not to hide the koalas from you. They are just different species of eucalyptus. So eucalyptus is the only plant species that a koala really bothers with in its life. It's the only food that it'll have. And it's quite prevalent, especially on that east coast to where they stick to. There's just shy of about 1,000 different species of eucalyptus growing in Australia. The koala is one of the fussiest, most stubborn animals that you've probably seen on the zoo trip so far. They eat about 10% of that, and that is completely dependent on a whole different range of things. How much rainfall for the year, what season it is, whether they have a joey or not. So there's a lot of different factors that come into what they eat. And even though they are really, really picky with what they eat, it's still a rubbish food. Eucalyptus is actually a really toxic plant, and it makes most animals and us feel really rubbish, really sick. And the koalas aren't immune to that. It's like a tolerance they build up over life. So when they eat that 10%, that's because that's kind of the semi-friendly 10%, a little bit easier to digest. Even then, it does take a toll on their tiny bodies. So that is actually what causes the koala to be so inactive. So a lot of people, it's especially kind of a running joke or myth in Australia that koalas are really high or drunk all the time. It is a little bit of a myth busted for you guys, sorry that's not the case. Whilst it is toxic, it's not intoxicating. So just really, really toxic, hard for their body to break down. And the average koala will sleep between 18 to 22 hours every single day.